Hello and welcome to School of War Slingers Part 2. Today we're going to be talking about some of the things that I forgot to cover with Slingers, as well as another play style that I wanted to show, which is the defensive style with skirmishers. As you can imagine, just like the artillery, skirmishers can also play defensively to a great extent. There are a few things that come with skirmishers that set them apart from playing archers, which I'd like to show that in this replay. So in this one I picked the artillery hill over here to start, and the reason I did that is, unlike the last time, instead of invading the middle, the strategic point, I am going to be guarding the center area. Now first thing I see is that my opponent, let's enable the fog of war. Okay, so the first thing I saw was that those dog handlers. Dogs, because they're short, they can go under pikes and they would heavily counter me. This means I must allow my friend Hastari here to engage them first. So I keep my eye over here, but try to assist over here. Now I'd like to focus your attention on over here. Even though these cavalry are in range, I am not able to shoot them. This is important because, unlike archers, the slingers cannot arc their shots. This means when you are firing on an elevation, you will not be able to fire. Your slingers will instead try to get a line of sight with the unit. So this is very important, and this would explain why sometimes your slingers behave very stupid. It's simply because they do not have a line of sight, and it is very difficult to see at times when you are playing for an aerial overview camera. So this is something that really sets them apart, because archers can do that. That's another advantage of archers. Also this is exchanged for their range. So here you see my opponent using the foliage to his advantage, but he does one fatal mistake. He sends all of his dogs over here, and now see the power of the Slinger burst. It just hit him for half a health. At this point he is desperate, so he is just charging into my pikes. So I cannot see him, so I order a focus fire. Hit some square in the face. So now when you're playing as skirmishers, it's okay to fire from in the back of your enemy. The friendly fire is gonna be rather limited. So I see that my opponent is sending their principes, so I retreat to the strategic position, and now you're gonna see why. So as you can see, the slingers are not doing much damage over here. My opponent goes into testudo to reduce the slinger damage, but he does one fatal mistake. He tries to engage my pikemen. While he does activate his vengeance, because none of his units are touching my units, he's not doing any damage. The only damage that I'm receiving is from my own friendly fire. So what I do in this case, I put myself in an elevation in order to be able to shoot these units while doing less damage to myself because of the angle. So you'll need to consider the angling of your shots when you're playing it. It is something that just, when I play Slingers, it just became a second nature, so that was not something I wanted to focus on. You can see me fixing my phalanx over here. Here I'm making a mistake. I'm focusing way too much on my pikemen and not firing on my enemy. Now I finally realized it. My friend over here is guiding them. So right now I got 46 kills. Wait, do I? No. I've got 275 kills from those dogs and from those dog handlers and killing these principes.
cannot aim enough not to hit our own allies, perhaps you should reconsider your...
So because I assisted the Hastati over there, which they would have lost against dogs on their own,
But we should not kill our own allies.
they now came back to assist me to give a hammer and anvil over here.
Never again will your evil rise, Germanicus.
As you can see, I remain stationary while our opponent takes a strategic point, but this is not going to help them because our position is very secure. So we have beaten the enemy back in the south. The north we have lost. And in the middle we are holding. So currently the game is very balanced. Now this right here is something you never want to do as Germanicus. You never want to blob your units fighting against one from the face. Because look at this. So many men just standing around cheering. That's it. They're not fighting. So, if I had archers, what I could have done is I could have moved my archers closer over here and hit his archers, but then I'd be in the range of his archers. So, that's one disadvantage of using the slingers in this map. So right now, all I can do is wait. And this is something very important when it comes to playing defense. You need to be patient. I know it goes without saying, it's because I forget that a lot. No, I'm serious, I just want to go in and kill stuff. You know, blood for the blood god, but... you're supposed to be patient and stuff. So I see my allies just getting massacred in the middle. Speed this up a bit. So yeah, we have an opponent that moves very slowly from the middle. So the opponent knows, they have realized that my slingers are over here. Which is probably not something... yeah, I'm able to get at least one shot on those Toxotai using the strain ability. So now, I have taken the ledge. Ledge provides some advantages, but mostly disadvantages at this point. I think it's because of the programming. So right now it gives you the ability to trace. So if you have if you have found a unit, you will be able to see it even when it is invisible as soon as you have given the fire order. And I will demonstrate how that works. So my opponent knows it is very dangerous to enter there. They're moving in slowly. This cavalry hits them in the back. The one other thing that I'd like to demonstrate is move and shoot. You're not gonna see that. We're not gonna be able to see that very often here. Well, we kind of saw it earlier against those dog handlers, but it's just a natural ability of all skirmishers. That's not the case in most Total War games. So okay, we have these cavalry unit moving into over here. I get one shot off. And I use my alleged slingers to hit these cavalry. See what happens.
If you cannot aim enough not to hit our own allies, perhaps you should reconsider your profession.
Now do you see it? They're hitting them even though they are off the map right now. Even though they would be outside of the line of sight. So let's take a look at our current kill count. That would be 396. So playing defense can at times pay off. It is kind of a gamble. Playing defense is kind of a gamble when you play in random matches, because if your team just pushes and wins, you will get no points. But if the enemy team pushes, you're gonna get lots of kills. Unless you get overwhelmed, in which case it's the same thing. So this setup is very good for defense. Anything with pikemen is good for defense. So you can see my slingers are able to fire even though they do not see the enemy. But I need to be able to target them. But the problem is they're very unresponsive when it comes to ledge fire. Do you see that? Like, I didn't give that order.
To hit our own allies. Perhaps you should reconsider your profession.
See, here I'm doing lots of friendly fire, mainly because we have already won and I just want some more kills. I know this kinda makes me a bad person, but, well, being a good person doesn't give you more kills, so... Yep. Now you have just seen... Now, let's pause that a bit. You saw how one volley from one Slinger took quarter of their health. It's quarter of their health. This is very similar in almost all tiers. Against all tiers, this is tier 3, so it's more pronounced. But it is still the same thing, and it's from smaller elevation too, so it's also less damage. But, so this is why Slingers are anti-archers. Right now, they cannot even attack me. In the meanwhile, I can do full damage.
Spartans, but we should not kill our own allies.
So being the skirmisher unit also makes me the perfect counter against these pikemen. So right now these are the last units, so I'm just going for annihilation. I don't care about the friendly fire. Even so, these guys are pretty accurate. And so this was basically how to use your Slingers. In the end, I had around 585 kills. And although you should not measure your performance based on kills, the scoreboard is horrible. So that's another thing to keep in mind. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.